So I just purchased the cheapest Harley-Davidson at the last motorcycle auction. And it was a $3,300, and it was the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my life, 2010 Harley-Davidson Wide Glide. And then an 03 Fat Boy came up, and that was cheaper. So I purchased that one. And then a 95 Ultra Classic came up, and that was $2,200. So I purchased that one. And I thought that was the cheapest Harley-Davidson until a 97 1200 Sportster came up, and that was $1,500. And at this point I was relieved. I bought the cheapest Harley-Davidson at the auction. And then an 88 Sportster showed up, and I got that one for $1,200. So in my pursuit to buy the cheapest Harley-Davidson at the auction, that was $1,200, it cost me $11,100 to do that. Doesn't really make any sense, does it? But this is what I got. And I am the proud owner of a very awesome 1988, the golden days, Harley-Davidson with leaves and everything. Never sat outside. Now, just like all of my other the cheapest bike videos, we will be trading this motorcycle in, so stay to the end of the video. The last time I did this, the offer was they were gonna come in here and make us breakfast. And they did, and because they made us breakfast and the breakfast was good, and his buddy helped, we ended up giving him 2 motorcycles. All right, everything comes down to this. If this bagel sandwich is amazing, they get the bike. If not, they're going home empty-handed.
Are you feeling the pressure?
Ooh. That's amazing. Yep. Ah! Best bagel sandwich ever. I'll give you the option. You could have this one or this one. This one runs right now. I got $1,500 getting this thing running.
Oh, yours is really special. I guess something yours just because, like,
all right, you get that one. Are you serious? Yeah. You have to do one thing though. What is that? You gotta flip one of those patties with the spatula. Because the whole virus thing, no one can come to our shop right now, so we will be shipping this bike. So at the end of the video, you can text us the trade offer. We're gonna ship it to you for free. Now let's see what we're dealing with over here. Wow, beautiful 1988 cast wheels. Tires are actually kind of decent. Frame is a little bit rusty. I don't even know what this is. Crane cams, race mode, OEM mode, electric start, kickstart. Wow, you get that thing up for a kickstart. Looking at the jugs. So there's no leaks on the base gaskets. That looks pretty good. It's actually looking pretty, although that doesn't really connect very well, though that's pretty big gap right there. The engine looks pretty dry. S&S carburetor. No, it's a S&S intake with a shorty carb. We got some things grounded out up here. That's, no, just wires cut, just random wires cut, that's fine. Nothing unusual going on over here. Actually, pretty surprised. I mean, the engine looks very dry. Because it's got that little crane cam module, you may assume, the back tire looks pretty good, you may assume that someone rebuilt the engine at some point in time. Let's check the oil. There's very little oil in there. There should be a whole lot more oil in there than what there is. USAA, let's check the fuel tank. Gas smells horrible. And this thing is showing 32,000 miles. Let's, just the way it sits, let's see if we can crank it up. Oh. Hey! That's awesome. That's amazing, it fired up. For some reason, sparks just kind of flew out of something. I'm not sure what that was, but on the side. Other than that, it fired up and almost instantly idled great. Let's, I'm gonna check everything for safety. I'm gonna put some oil in it, and then let's see how the bike runs. So after taking just a couple minutes, I cleaned up this, and I took the bags off. That's all I did. The bike looks pretty decent. It was clearly someone's baby. It just got left outside or whatever. Who knows what happened. I bet it's got a pretty crazy story behind it. Now, Harley-Davidson has been around since 1903, which is why the 2003 models are the 100th anniversary bikes. And what's interesting about the 2003 was a couple years before 2003, you had to get on a waiting list to buy a Harley-Davidson. You don't just walk into a store like you do now and just take your pick of all the bikes out there. You'd actually go into the store, go into an office and pick the one you want, and they would get manufactured and it would come in like 8 or 9 months later. That's why it's actually true when people say that the used Harley-Davidsons were actually more valuable than the new ones, because used ones were there. You can go to a Harley-Davidson place and, all right, just a couple used ones. You couldn't actually buy a new because you had to wait 9 months. And hey, you know what? If you got to ride, you got to ride. But in 1969, Harley-Davidson went through a really tough time, and AMF, the bowling company, the bowling manufacturer company, bought out Harley-Davidson, and they had a lot of real quality control issues. And even to the point that, I was not around then, but you hear that they actually put oil drip pans underneath the bikes from brand new. Some investors and the Davidson family bought Harley back. So this is a 1988. And this was kind of in that weird area where Harley was still trying to shake off that, that quality control issues that they had from AMF. I can't wait. I have no idea what modifications have been done to it. I think it's got cams in it. I have no idea how many times the engine has been rebuilt. I'm excited to ride it. Let's go take it for a spin. Ah, shoot, I was gonna put gas in it. All right, maiden voyage. To be honest with you, this thing's running great. Every once in a while, I give it too much gas. It might be running out of gas. It kind of spits and sputters. This is an aftermarket forward control setup. So going through the gears is fine. Neutral, I have no feel. I can get it into neutral, but there's no precise feeling that you're in neutral. It's kind of like a big old sloppy space in between first and second. But brakes feel good. It's got a great sound to it. I just imagine in the that could be 32,000, that could be 32,000 miles, that could be 132,000 miles. You really have no idea. I can only imagine where this bike's been, who's ridden this bike, and what type of adventures, and how many of the bike's previous owners are currently serving jail time. It kind of blows my mind that for 1,200 bucks, I was the only one who was willing to pay $1,200 for this bike. It really, I mean, the shorty carburetor, I would imagine, is a $400 carburetor. And the thing does not drip a drop of oil, which is very normal for Sportsters to drip oil, especially from this era. And not because they weren't built, it's not because they had poor build quality, it's because most people just aren't spending that much money on their Sportster. That's why normally, a Sportster or a Dyna, you'll definitely see them leak more oil than I'll see like an Ultra Classic. The type of rider who's riding an Ultra Classic is less likely to be leaking oil all over the place. There we go, there's neutral. I'm not sure, it's actually running pretty good. It might need a good carb clean. I might just be running out of gas. I actually had big plans of putting gas in it before I did this trip, and I didn't. Do not run out of gas, please. All right, hold on. Let me see if the gas is even on. I'm gonna pull over right here. Put that thing on reserve. I think that's reserve right there. It's cranking over really well. Yeah, I should have put fuel in it. It's sipping. All right, so I got two options. I can try to run it down that hill and try to pop start it, or let's do that. That'd be good. That makes sense, because I don't want to kill the battery. Third. There we go. There we go. Come on. Yo, you want to go back and grab the Grabbed the van and the fuel can and the jump box. I'm gonna pull off the road, get in the field. And this is what happens when you buy the cheapest Harley-Davidson at the auction.
Could they have gas spill out and then...
All right, let's see if this thing fires up. Aha!
Never said Harley was the most reliable.
Oh yeah, that was the problem the whole time. Because now I can give it a little more gas. Well, I'm thoroughly impressed. This bike is running great. It starts up good. The battery seems to be strong. We had it on the battery charger for like 30 minutes. It cranked over a lot of times. Someone spent a lot of time and really loved this bike, and then it just kind of sat. And I suspect that someone's going to spend a lot of time and love this bike again. This bike was the cheapest Harley at the auction for $1,200. It was basically left for dead. I love to find these diamonds in the rough and help other people, you know, get riding them. If we were to clean this bike up, I think it'd be worth around $2,900. This bike is not for sale, but it is for trade. So if you have something you want to trade us, text 883, then what state you live in, and then what you want to trade, and then pictures if it needs pictures, and it probably needs pictures. A shipper will deliver the bike for free and pick up the trade item that you have. It might take a few weeks before we can get the title. But before you guys go, there's just one more question I have. So just to give you guys a pretty good idea of what type of value, you know, for 1,200 bucks, we actually bought two bikes at the same auction for 1,200 bucks. One was an '88 Harley-Davidson. The other one was also a full-blown bike. And you know what? They're very similar.
Extremely similar.
Extremely similar. Let's race them. On your mark, get set, go.